Coming soon to own on
YouTube and Twitch.
DVD.
All right. The Cable Guy is a sequel to The Truman Show, and I can prove it. Now, I don't know what The Cable Guy is, but I have watched The Truman Show like 4 times over. I love The Truman Show. I think it's a great concept. And I think if they was to run it in real life, I think
Oh, and in case I don't see
I think that shit would be actually fucked up. But it'd be crazy if this actually was a thing in real life. So let's get straight into it.
you, good afternoon, good evening, and good
And
night.
good night.
Okay, hear me out. When Truman Burbank walked out of that door, he didn't live happily ever after. He broke. He entered a world he didn't understand. A world where
Alright.
people were mean, where relationships were messy, and where nobody watched him anymore.
I feel like that wouldn't be true. I know he's probably going to explain more why I feel like the world would have never stopped watching him. Because when he left, he was the most watched man in the world, like internationally. He was most watched. I think the minute he tried to leave LA, everybody has eyes on him. Because once again, they've been watching him live for 30 years of his life. I think him if he was to actually leave, I think him would just be straight eyes. People really probably wouldn't be mad to him, but they'll probably look at him sideways, probably condescending and stuff like that.
He couldn't handle reality. So he changed his name. He developed a lisp to disguise his voice. And he took a job that gave him control over the only thing he truly loved: the television. The Cable Guy isn't a dark comedy. It is a psychological horror movie about Truman Burbank suffering a total mental collapse and trying to turn his new neighbor into his co-star. In 1998, Jim Carrey played the most innocent man in the world,
The yams was yamming, bro. Relax. All that.
a man raised inside a simulation. In 1996, Jim Carrey played a sociopath raised by television. The timelines seem backward, but the character arc is a straight line. One is the cause, the other is the effect.
Okay.
Today, I'm going to prove to you that Chip Douglas is just Truman Burbank after 5 years of PTSD and
What
television.
the fuck? Did this nigga pop a tit? And did this nigga in prison
Just
get horny
Truman
off of
Burbank
it?
after 5 years of PTSD and a lot of cable television. Let's start with the psychology.
Culture shock?
Truman lived in a PG-rated 1950s sitcom world. No crime, no swearing. Everything resolved in 30 minutes. When he steps into the real world, our world, what happens? Culture shock. Chip Douglas has zero social skills. He doesn't understand personal space. He doesn't understand boundaries. Why? Because in Truman's world, everyone was his friend. Everyone stopped
Yeah.
to talk to him. He was
Everyone
the
was
center
nice
of
to
the
him.
universe. Chip acts like he's the main character because for 30
He
years
was.
he was. He thinks that if he walks into a room, people should pay attention to him. When they don't, he gets aggressive. He forces the interaction. He is desperate to reclaim that feeling of being the star. Who is Chip Douglas?
Name identity crisis.
In the movie, he admits it's a fake name.
Terry Douglas, but my friends call me Chip.
He names himself after TV characters, the Douglases, the Bradys. Why? Because he has no real identity. Truman Burbank was a copyrighted name owned by the Omnicom Corporation. When he left the show, he likely lost the rights to his own name, or he hated it because it was a brand. So he built
Insane
a new
thought.
identity out of the only history he knew. Reruns. He is a man made of static. He mimics what he saw on the screens inside the dome because he has no concept of a real family history. This is
I wouldn't say he has no concept of a real family history, because he did have a family history in the dome. It just wasn't actually his family. But also, when he left, it's nobody knows where he went after he left, but it's speculated after he left, he went to go look for that girl, and that girl went to go look for him. So I feel like from a timeline perspective, I think realistically she would have found they would have found each other and he would have like been taught more about the world, I think the culture shock wouldn't be as strong. You know, if he wanted to build this time, I feel like they would have kept like got together, and then she like left him, and then he fell into the world of reality TV. And since she was the only person that was really helping him like break into the real world, I feel like that would probably be more of the way, you know, more of the way of how he gets into this Chip guy. Well, Chip not even his real name, but the Chip role.
Is the darkest part of the transformation. Truman was the victim of surveillance. He was watched 24/7 by Christoph,
Yep.
the man in the moon. Psychology tells us that victims of severe trauma sometimes identify with the aggressor to regain control. Chip doesn't just want to watch TV, he wants to be the director. Look at Chip's setup. He isn't just installing cable, he's bugging Steven's apartment. He watches and spies on Steven. This is a recreation of the Luna Room. Chip is playing God.
Yeah.
He is doing to Steven exactly what Christoph did to him. He creates scenarios. He manipulates Steven's relationships. He controls the environment. Truman Burbank realized that the only way to feel safe was to be the one holding the camera. He became the very monster he escaped. Why become a cable guy?
The job.
It gives him the
control
keys to
signal.
the kingdom. Chip controls the signal. He decides what you watch. He decides if your phone works. He decides if you are connected. It is the ultimate power move. He gives free cable to people he likes, bribing them for friendship, and cuts off people he hates. He uses technology to curate reality. And speaking of curating reality, you need
I
to
do the
juice up
same.
your feed by hitting that subscribe button. Don't let the algorithm cut your signal.
Yeah, subscribe to me too.
This brings us to the victim,
Co-star
Stephen
casting.
Kovacs, Matthew Broderick. Chip doesn't want a friend, he wants a co-star. Look at how Chip manipulates Steven's life. He engineers a breakup, then he engineers a makeup. He creates drama, he creates plot points. Chip isn't living life, he is showrunning Steven's life. He treats Steven like the straight man in a buddy comedy.
Friends aren't supposed to speak to each other like that.
That isn't a request, that's a casting decision. Truman spent his whole life with a best friend, Marlon, who was paid to be there. Chip assumes that
Side note, how much does somebody gotta pay you for you to be a friend of somebody for like 10, 15 years as an actor? Like to do what he did, and he was his friend for a long ass time. He was 30 in the show, and I think the youngest they showed us was them in high school. So around 15 years of your life, you gotta be around this nigga damn near daily. Whew. At that point, y'all are actually friends. I'm not gonna lie, I can't be around somebody that long and not actually be their friend. I'm just keeping it a buck.
in the real world, friendship is also transactional. I gave you free movie channels, now you have to deliver your lines. There is a heartbreaking monologue in The Cable Guy that reveals the origin of the madness. He says his mother left him alone and TV raised him. Now look at The Truman Show. Truman's mother was an actress. She didn't love him. She was doing a job. When the cameras cut, she went home. Truman was raised by TV. He was raised for TV. The babysitter line is a metaphor. The camera was his parent. The audience was his family. When Chip screams about pop culture, he isn't being funny. He is quoting scripture. He is reciting the only religious text he was ever given inside the dome. One of the most
Performance to
famous
love
scenes
somebody.
is the karaoke party. Chip sings Jefferson Airplane's Somebody to Love. This isn't just a guy having fun. This is a desperate, manic plea for validation. Look at his eyes. He scans the room. He needs them to look at him. Truman was the most famous face on Earth. Now he is nobody.
He said this was technically supposed to be 5 years after Truman left. I think especially back then with no social media or like the internet wasn't as vague as it is now. I think 5 years later, he would still be like talk of the town, very well known, face everywhere. Everybody's looking at him. I feel like people wouldn't just forget who this person was and what happened to him in 5 years. Like, hey, this was the guy everybody was watching on live television for 30 years of his life.
When he grabs that microphone, he's trying to feel that broadcast high again. He creates a spectacle because silence terrifies him. If the audience isn't watching, does he even exist? He sings Somebody to Love because he has never known real love, only the simulated love of a billion viewers. Then the genre shifts. We get the jousting at medieval times. Chip treats this like a life or death battle. He creates a spectacle. Why? Because Truman understands that every good season needs an action episode. The ratings were dropping, the buddy comedy arc was getting stale. So Chip decided it was time for a fight scene. He forces Steven to fight him because he believes that high-stakes drama bonds characters together. He is trying to recreate the storm at the end of The Truman Show, a moment of peril that defines the hero. Except Steven isn't a hero. He's just an architect who wants to eat his chicken. Let's talk about the lisp. Truman had a clear, broadcast-ready voice. Chip has a severe, slushy lisp. Why? 2 theories. The injury. Truman survived a massive storm and a boat crash. Maybe he suffered brain damage or nerve damage that affected his speech. The disguise. Truman is the most recognizable face on the planet. He can't walk down the street without being mobbed. So he adopts a character. He creates Chip. He changes.
Nah, that's not enough, dog. Dyeing your shit black, changing nothing about your face. I still see, like, if this is real life, I still see Truman. Like, you be like, oh no, this is Chip. Like, no, this is Truman. Like, if I seen this, I'd be like, that's Truman Burbank. I want a picture with this guy.
His voice. He creates a speech impediment to hide the TV star voice. It's a method acting technique to stay anonymous. But over time, the mask stuck to the face. He forgot how to speak like Truman. How do we get from the dome to the dish? 1998, The Escape. Truman leaves the dome. The show ends. The world cheers. 1999, The Fallout. Truman tries to live in the real world, Los Angeles. He is stalked by paparazzi. He realizes he has no skills, no education, and no legal identity.
They did teach him education, just a very light one. Like, they didn't teach him like things outside of. Well, that is a good thought process. Because how would you teach him about things in the real world without telling him beyond the real the world he lived in?
He sues the studio, but the litigation drags on. 2000, the breakdown. Truman snaps. He disappears. He legally changes his name to Chip Douglas, a generic TV name. He takes a blue-collar job to become invisible. 2001 to 2002, the relapse. Isolated and lonely, Chip begins to crave the connection he had in the dome. He starts interfering in his customers' lives, trying to recreate the perfect community of Sea Haven. 2003, the cable guy. He meets Steven Kovacs. He decides Steven is the perfect replacement for Marlon. The obsession begins.
It's a solid timeline. Now, in his timeline, I know it's not like proven. I know it's not like technically probably what happened, but I do think that the girl that Truman actually liked, they would have ended up meeting. Because especially since she knew exactly where that dome was at, because she was there. She used to work there. I think she would have caught him. And then around this time, she probably would have been teaching him things. I think the paparazzi and all these people are trying to pry into Truman's life in the real world would have made them two having falling out. And this is where she leaves him. After she leaves him, he relapses, and then he meets the cable guy. That's my timeline, how I would see it.
There is a moment where
Prophecy.
Chip predicts the future with
Transformation
terrifying
superpower.
accuracy.
The future is now! Soon every American home will integrate their television, phone, and computer. You'll be able to visit the lube on one channel or watch female mud wrestling on another. You can do your shopping at home or play Mortal Kombat with a friend in Vietnam.
Oh,
There's
shit.
no end to the possibility.
How does a weird cable guy know about the future of the internet and
Nigga, he's a cable guy. And if he installs cable, nigga, he knows the future of internet.
streaming in 1996? Because he knows the trajectory of surveillance. Truman lived the future. He lived in a world where every moment was broadcast. He knows that humanity is addicted to voyeurism. He knows that eventually everyone will want to be Truman. Everyone will want to broadcast their lives. Social media / streaming. He isn't guessing. He is warning us. He is the canary in the coal mine telling us that the dome is about to expand to cover the whole world. Telling
That's
us
not.
that
So this is the girl I was talking about. You never watched the Truman Show. She was on the show around when they were in college, but she wasn't the girl set to date Truman. So she broke out of her character and started flirting with Truman and took him like off like where he was supposed to be. And then so obviously they sent people and snatched her away. And as she was getting dragged away, she told Truman like none of this is real. She tried to break it down. And ever since that day, Truman kept trying to piece together the like pictures to get her face so he can try to meet her. He was trying to remember this girl. So this is why I said if he left, I think
the dome is about to expand to
and this is not parasocial because technically they did meet. Technically they did like each other.
cover the whole world. Finally,
And at the end of that scene, she grabbed her coat and she walked out. She walked into her car, I think. So me personally, I do think it was a possibility she grabbed Truman.
the ending. Chip climbs the giant satellite dish. He fights Steven, and then he lets go. Why does he jump? Because he realizes he can't fix himself. He realizes the world is just another TV show. But look at where he lands. He lands on the transmitter. He knocks out the signal. This is Truman's final act of rebellion. In the Truman Show, he walked out the door to stop the show. In the Cable Guy, he dies to kill the signal for everyone else. He sacrificed himself to give the world a moment of silence, to force people to look away from the screen and look at each other.
Fair.
So, when you watch The Cable Guy, don't laugh at the funny lisp.
My lisp is gone! You stupid son of a...
You are watching a man suffering from profound developmental trauma. You are watching an orphan trying to force a family into existence using the only language he speaks. Sitcom tropes. And that grin, that isn't for the pilot. That's for us, the audience, the people who watched him sleep for 30 years. He knows we're still watching, and he put on one hell of a show. I'm tweeting at Jim Carrey. Ask him if Chip Douglas has a sailboat named the Santa Maria.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
With that being said, that was The Cable Guy is a sequel to The Truman Show. Now, I feel like some things would be different in my version of the timeline. Obviously, I kept reiterating. Damn, I can't talk today. Reiterating that I feel like the girl would have been implemented in the timeline, but obviously it's not confirmed that they were going to meet each other. But let me know how y'all feel about that down below. I feel like there's a very strong case to the storylines connecting, and especially how the Cable Guy acts. From what I hear, I think it's very much a good theory. Let me know how y'all feel right down below.
I'm not trying to score. Your heart's an open door. I got the key, I'm trying to keep composure and some more. I know you want some more. Can your body hear me? Want you to feel